Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're continuing to read from Canto 8 of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on chapter 5. We are reading the prayers by Lord Brahma to Lord Vishnu. He can't see Lord Vishnu, but Lord Brahma is reciting these prayers at the shore of the milk ocean at Shvetadvip. So, because the demigods, they were in distress, they had lost all their riches due to curse of the Rasa Muni, and the demons attacked them, and the demons won. So the demigods all went to Lord Brahma for his help. Then Lord Brahma has taken the demigods to the ocean of milk, to the shore of the ocean of milk, to pray to Lord Vishnu. So we are hearing these beautiful prayers by Lord Brahma. We heard that the Lord is on the Vasudev platform, on the Shuddha Sattva, the transcendental platform. The material goodness, what happens? Material goodness then gets overcome by passion or ignorance. But the Lord never gets overcome by passion or ignorance. He's always in the state of pure goodness. And the pure devotee, because he's liberated, he is on the level of pure goodness. Then he can also understand the Supreme Lord in that stage, in the Shuddha Sattva stage. We are contaminated by the modes of passion and ignorance. And that's why we are not able to see the Lord or understand Him. But the pure devotee, because he's also on the transcendental platform, he can understand the Lord. So we continue reading. Ime vayam yat priyaye vatanva
इमे वयं यात् प्रिययाय तन्वा
satvena srishta bahirantaravihi
सत्त्वेन सृष्टा बहिरन्तराभिः
gatim na sukshmam rishayascha vidmahe
गतिं न सूक्ष्मां ऋषयश्च विद्महे
kuto suradya itara pradanaha.
कुतो असुराध्या इतरप्रधानाः
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Since our bodies are made of sattva gun, we, the demigods, are internally and externally situated in goodness. All the great saints are also situated in that way. Therefore, if even we cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what is to be said of those who are most insignificant in their bodily constitutions, being situated in the modes of passion and ignorance? How can they understand the Lord? Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto Him. Atheists and demons cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although He is situated within everyone. For them, the Lord finally appears in the form of death, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Mrityu Sarva Haras Chaham. Atheists think that they are independent, and therefore they do not care about the supremacy of the Lord. Yet the Lord asserts His supremacy when He overcomes them as death. So one may say that, oh, I don't believe in God, I don't believe God exists. But one cannot be in this body forever. God will meet us at the time of death. Time I am, Krishna says, and I have come to take all. So this time is this form of Krishna. He comes as death at the end of our life. So it's our choice. We surrender to Krishna while we are living. If we don't, we will have to surrender to him in the form of death. At the time of death, their attempts to use their so called scientific knowledge and philosophical speculation to deny the supremacy of the Lord cannot work. We cannot say to death, oh, okay, wait, give me 5 minutes, give me 5 days, give me 5 months. No, we're just pulled out of this body. And then we are going to be forced into another body. So it's all happening under the Lord's supreme control. We are thinking we are independent. I am controller, I am controller. But when death will come, we'll be forced. Hiranyakashipu, for example, was an exalted representative of the atheistic class of men. He always challenged the existence of God, and thus he became inimical even toward his own son. Everyone was afraid of Hiranyakashipu's atheistic principles. Nonetheless, when Lord Nishimadev appeared in order to kill him, Hiranyakashipu's atheistic principles could not save him. Right? Even the demigods, we heard the demigods had become his servants. He had taken the best of Indra's palace. He was ruling over the entire universe. Everyone was afraid of him. But when Lord Nishingadev came, Hiranyakashipu got afraid of Lord Nishingadev. Um, Lord Nishimadev killed Hiranyakashipu and took away all his power, influence, and pride. Atheistic men, however, never understand how everything they create is annihilated. The supersoul is situated within them, but because of the predominance of modes of passion and ignorance, they cannot understand the supremacy of the Lord. So the modes, we are covered by the modes cover us. And passion and ignorance, they help us to forget the Lord. Whereas goodness leads one to knowledge. So here Lord Brahma is saying that the bodies of the demigods, his own body is made of goodness. And even they are not able to understand the Supreme Lord properly. Then what to speak of us, the lower human beings whose bodies are covered by passion and ignorance? Even the demigods, the devotees who are transcendentally situated or situated on the platform of goodness, are not fully aware of the qualities and position of the Lord. How then can the demons and atheists understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead? It is not possible. Therefore, to gain this understanding, the demigods headed by Lord Brahma offered their respectful obeisances to the Lord. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Padau mahiyam swakrite vayasya
Padau मह्यं स्वकृते यस्य
chaturvidho yatra hi bhuta sarkaha.
चतुर्विधो यत्र हि भूतसर्गः
Savai Mahapurusha Atmatantraha
स वै महापुरुष आत्मतन्त्रः
Prasidatam Brahma Mahavibhuti.
प्रसीदतां ब्रह्म विभूतिः.
On this earth, there are four kinds of living entities who are all created by Him. The material creation rests on His lotus feet. He is the great Supreme Person, full of opulence and power. May He be pleased with us. The word Mahi refers to the five material elements: earth, water, air, fire, and sky, which rest upon the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Mahi, the five gross elements. Mahatpadam Punya Yasho Murare, the Mahatattva, The total material energy rests on his lotus feet, for the cosmic manifestation is but another opulence of the Lord. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that these five elements are created by me. They belong to him. So in this cosmic manifestation, there are four kinds of living entities. Jarayuja, those born from embryos. Andaja, those born from eggs. Svedaja, those born from perspiration. And Udbhija, those born from seeds. So four types of living entities. Born from embryo, born from eggs, born from perspiration, born from seeds. Everything is generated from the Lord, as confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadhyasya Yataha. No one is independent, but the Supreme Soul is completely independent. We may claim that we are independent, we may think we are independent, but that is the illusion. That is Maya's illusion over us. Janmadhyasya yato anvayat itarasyartheshva abhigya swarat. The word swarat means independent. We are dependent, whereas the Supreme Lord is completely independent. We are thinking we are swarat, but actually we are not. We are completely dependent on the will of the Lord. The real independent is the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is the greatest of all. Even Lord Brahma, who created the cosmic manifestation, is but another opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The material creation is activated by the Lord, and therefore the Lord is not a part of the material creation. The Lord exists in his original spiritual position. So, Narayana Paravyakta, that Lord Narayan exists before the creation. So, Narayan is not a part of the material creation. It's not that he's created after the material creation has happened. No, he's the one who causes the material creation. It's the painter. The painter exists. The painter paints. And that's how the painting is created. So the Supreme Lord Krishna, he is the painter. He's the creator behind this wonderful creation. The Lord exists in his original spiritual position. The universal form of the Lord, Viraja Murti, is another feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the opulence of the Supreme Lord, that he's completely independent. All of us, be any living entity is being born as of an egg or perspiration or a seed or embryo, everyone is dependent on the Supreme Lord. Everyone is created by Supreme Lord. We we cannot say, oh, only those ones who are created by seeds, they are part and parcel of Krishna. Or those are only who are with perspiration are part and parcel of Krishna. No, all. Perspiration, embryo, egg, and seed. All are created by Krishna. So here Lord Brahma is saying, may he be pleased with us. He's appealing to the Lord. May he be pleased with us. He's appealing to the grace of the Lord. He's appealing to the Lord for his grace, for his mercy. Ambastu yadre taudara viryam
अम्बस्तु यद्रेत उदारवीर्यम्
siddhyanti jivanti uta vardhamana.
सिद्ध्यन्ति जीवन्ति उत वर्धमानः
Lokaya totha khila lokapala
लोकायतोत्थाखिललोकपालः
prasidatam na samaha vibhuti.
प्रसीदतां न समहाविभूतिः.
The entire cosmic manifestation has emerged from water, and it is because of water that all living entities endure, live, and develop. This water is nothing but the semen of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, may the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has such great potency, be pleased with us. Despite the theories of so-called scientists, the vast quantities of water on this planet and on other planets are not created by a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. Rather, the water is sometimes explained to be the perspiration and sometimes the semen of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Mahavishnu, he expands, he enters into every universe as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And then we heard in earlier chapters, earlier cantos of Bhagavatam, that he fills this universe. Half of the universe is filled with his perspiration, the Garbhodaka ocean. And here it's called his semen. So some acharyas are sometimes saying water, sometimes they're saying semen. Anyway, the idea to understand it is coming from the Supreme Lord, created by the Supreme Lord. It is from water that all living entities emerge, and because of water, they live and grow. Without water, we won't be able to live, right? Can't grow anything, so can't eat anything. If there were no water, all life would cease. Water is the source of life for everyone. Therefore, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have so much water all over the world. So water is created by Krishna, one of the energies of Krishna. Somam mano yasya samamananti
सोमं मनो यस्य समामनन्ति
divo kasamyo balam anda ayu
देवौकसां यो बलवन्त आयुः
isho naganam prajanam
ईशो न गानां प्रजना प्रजानः
prasidatam na samaha vibhuti.
प्रसीदतां
Prasidatam
न महाविभूतिः
Soma, the moon, is the source of food grains, strength and longevity for all the demigods. He is also the master of all vegetation and the source of generation for all living entities. As stated by learned scholars, the moon is the mind of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all opulences, be pleased with us. Soma, the predominating deity of the moon, is the source of food grains and therefore the source of strength even for the celestial beings, the demigods. Krishna says in 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that the moonshine, which is so nourishing, which makes the vegetables so succulent and nutritious, is coming from him. So he is the vital force for all vegetation. Unfortunately, modern so-called scientists who do not fully understand the moon describe the moon as being full of deserts. Since the moon is a source for our vegetation, how can the moon be a desert? The moonshine is the vital force for all vegetation, and therefore we cannot possibly accept that the moon is a desert. So Prabhupada is putting forth this point that because of the moon, we have vegetation on our earth. Our vegetables are becoming nutritious, they are growing nicely. Then how can something that be a source of this vegetation, how can that planet have no vegetation at all? How can that be a desert? So from Bhagavatam, we understand, of course, that moon is a heavenly planet. It's much higher than the Earth planet, and so there is a lot of beauty there, a lot of variety, a lot of beauty on the moon. Agnir mukham yasya tujata veda
अग्निर्मुखं
Agnirmukham
यस्य
yasya
तुजा
tujata
वेदा
veda
Jata Kriyakanda Nimitta Janma
जातः
जात
क्रियकाण्डनिमे तन्मा
क्रियाकाण्डनिमित्तजन्म
Anta Samudre Nupachan Swadhatun
अन्तः समुद्रे
समुद्रे
पचन् स्वधातुन्
उपस्थि
Prasidatam na Samaha Vibhutihi
प्रसीदतां
प्रसीदतां
न
न
समाविभूतिः
महाभूतिः
Fire which is born for the sake of accepting oblations in ritualistic ceremonies is the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Fire exists within the depths of the ocean to produce wealth, and fire is also present in the abdomen to digest food and produce various secretions for the maintenance of the body. May that supremely powerful personality of Godhead be pleased with us. So here Lord Brahma is speaking of fire. Fire is also an element which is created by Krishna. And the yagya, we light the fire that is represents the mouth of Lord Krishna. All the oblations, all the offerings are offered into the fire, being offered to Lord Vishnu. Fire exists in the depths of the ocean. We see there is volcanoes also in the oceans. And we have fire to digest our food. Krishna says he is the fire to even digest our food in the stomach. So here we can see that how Lord Brahma is glorifying Krishna. Yachakshurase taranir devayanam
यच्चक्षुरासे
यच्चक्षुरासीतरन्
तरणादिदेवयानम्
Traimayo Brahmana Esha Deshnyam
तयीमयो
त्रयीमयो
ब्राह्मण
ब्राह्मण
एष
एष
विष्णयम्
दिव्यम्
Dwaram cha mukter amritam cha mrityu
द्वारं
द्वारं
च
च मुक्ते
मुक्तेरमृतं
अमृतं
च मृत्युः
prasidatam na samaha vibhutihi.
प्रसीदतां
प्रसीदतां
न
न
समाविभूतिः
समाविभूति
The sun god marks the path of liberation, which is called Archiradi Vartma. He is the chief source for understanding of the Vedas. He is the abode where the absolute truth can be worshipped. He is the gateway to liberation, and he is the source of eternal life as well as the cause of death. The sun god is the eye of the Lord. May that Supreme Lord, who is supremely opulent, be pleased with us. The sun god is considered to be the chief of the demigods. Even the scientists say, all life exists in the universe is because of the sun. So the sun also represents Krishna. He is also considered to be the demigod who watches the northern side of the universe. He gives help for understanding the Vedas, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita 552. Yakchakshur esha savita sakalaha grahanam Raja samasta suramurti rashesha teja Yasya gaya brahmati samrita kala chakro Govindamadi purusham tam aham bhajami. The sun, full of infinite effulgence, is the king of all the planets and the image of the good soul. The sun is like the eye of the Supreme Lord. I adore the Pramable Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. So Lord Brahma is telling us that this sun that is moving in its orbit every day is moving under the order of the Supreme Lord Govinda. The sun is actually the eye of the Lord. In the Vedic mantras, it is said that unless the Supreme Personality of Godhead sees, no one can see. Unless there is sunlight, no living entity on any planet can see. So we can see because the Lord can see. We can hear because the Lord can hear. So therefore the sun is considered to be the eye of the Supreme Lord. That is confirmed here by the words Yak Chakshur Asit, and in the Brahma Samhita by the words Yak Chakshur Esha Savita. The word Savita means the sun god. Any comments, or did anyone want to add anything or question? Okay, then we'll continue. Pranad abhudyasya characharanam
प्राणाद् अभूत्यस्य चराचराणां
prana sahobalamojascha vayuhu
प्राणाः सहो बलम् ओजश्च वायु
anmasma samrajamivanukavayam
अन्वास्म सम्राजम् इवानुगावयम्
prasidatam na samaha vibhutihi.
प्रसीदतातां न समः विभूतिः
All living entities, moving and non-moving, receive their vital force, their bodily strength, and their very lives from the air. All of us follow the air for our vital force, exactly as servants follow an emperor. The vital force of air is generated from the original vital force of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. May that Supreme Lord be pleased with us. So the air, we can't even live. Barely we'll be able to live if there's no air. Uh, we gasp for air when there is not sufficient air. This air is energy of Krishna, is created by Krishna. Shrotra-disho yasya hridascha khani
श्रोत्रादिशो यस्य हृदश्च खानि
prajakye kampurushasya nabhyaha
प्रजज्ञ प्रजज्ञखं पुरुषस्य नाभयाः
pranendriyamatsu shariraketaha
प्राणेन्द्रियात्मासु शरीरकेतः
prasidatam na samaha vibhutihi.
प्रसीदतातां न समः विभूतिः
May the supremely powerful personality of Godhead be pleased with us. The different directions are generated from his ears. The wholes of the body come from his heart, and the vital force, the senses, the mind, the air within the body, and the ether, which is the shelter of the body, come from his navel. So the directions are created by the ear of the Lord. The wholes of the body are coming from the heart of the Lord. And vital force, the senses, the mind, and the air and ether, they're coming from the navel of the Lord.
Is it this describing about the space? We got the 5 elements, right?
Yeah,
So I think from the whole, then it is space, right?
yeah. Ether is space. Yeah, space. The directions also is being said about the directions, the wholes of the
Mm.
body, the living force, the life force, the senses, the mind. So all this is coming from the navel of the Lord. Of course, the directions are coming from his ears. So sometimes the crystals in the ear gets displaced, and then you get so much vertigo, can't understand which direction you're going, and it just goes round and round.
Mhm.
Okay. Balan Mahendra Stridasha Prasadan
Balan Mahendra Sritasha Prasadan
Manyor Girisho Dishanad Virinchahat
Manyorgirisho
Manyo Dishana
Dishanad Virincha
Virinchaha
Kebyastu Chandam Sirashayo Mitrataha Kaha
Kepyastu
Vashatu Chand
Rishayo
Dhanachorashio Med
Ratakaha
Ratakaha
Prasidatam na Samaha Vibhutihi
Datam
Prasidatam
Nama Samaha Vibhuti
Vibhutihi.
Mahendra, the king of heaven, was generated from the prowess of the Lord. The demigods were generated from the mercy of the Lord. Lord Shiva was generated from the anger of the Lord, and Lord Brahma from his sober intelligence. The Vedic mantras were generated from the bodily wholes of the Lord, and the great saints and Prajapatis were generated from his genitals. May that supremely powerful Lord be pleased with us. So Mahendra is Lord Indra, the king of heaven, prowess of the Lord, demigods, the mercy of the Lord. Lord Shiva is coming from the anger of the Lord, Lord Brahma from his intelligence, Vedic mantras from the bodily wholes, the great saints, the Prajapatis from the genitals of the Lord. Lord Brahma is saying, may that supremely powerful Lord be pleased with us. Shri Vakshasah Pitaras Chaya Yasan
Shivakshashasa Pitara
Pitaras Chayasam
Chayasam
Dharma Stanad Itara Prishtato Bhut
Dharma
Dharma Sthananaditira Prasasto
Bhut
Yoryasya Shishno Saraso Vihara
Dyoryasya Shirshno
Prasasto Prayasho Vihara
Vihara
Prasidatamna Samaha Vibhutihi
Prasidatatam Nasamaha
Vibhuti
Vibhutihi.
The goddess of fortune was generated from his chest, the inhabitants of Pitralok from his shadow, religion from his bosom, and irreligion, the opposite of religion, from his back. The heavenly planets were generated from the top of his head, and the apsaras from his sense enjoyment. May that supremely powerful personality of Godhead be pleased with us. So religion is being created from his bosom, and irreligion is from his back. Maya is at the back of Krishna. Vipro mukhad brahmachayasya goyam
Vipro mukhat brahmacharyasya guhyam
rajanya ase bajayor balam cha
Rajanya
Rajanya
asi
Ashid
Jayor
Bhujayor Balam
Balamcha
Cha
urvor vidojo angrir aveda shudra
Urvo vid
Tov
ojo
acho rakiri ave.
shudro.
Prasidatam na samaha vibhuti.
Prasidatam
Prasidatam nasho
Mahavibhutihi.
The Brahmanas and Vedic knowledge come from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Kshatriyas and bodily strength come from his arms. The Vaishyas and their expert knowledge in productivity and wealth come from his thighs, and the Shudras, who are outside of Vedic knowledge, come from his feet. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full in prowess, be pleased with us. So we have also all these descriptions that we are reading. It's also the description of the universal form, no? We had read earlier. So where are the Brahmanas coming from? The mouth.
Brahmanas come from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of God.
Yeah. And the Kshatriyas?
From his arms,
Yeah. The Vaishyas?
come from his thighs,
Yeah. And the Shudras?
from his feet.
Feet. Yeah. So this is also,
Something is so in detail. It's
yeah,
wondrous.
the universal form is being described by Lord Brahma so much in detail.
Mm.
So we, let's try to see. Okay, let's stop here. We almost time's up.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.